Manish Agrawal, Senior Vice President with Prabhudas Lilladher Securities, to get his quick take on which way the numbers have moved. Manish, what is your sense? Titan numbers on expected lines, or the inside story is very different?
You see, top line growth is slightly lower than what we were expecting, and overall PAT seems to be in line.
What does that mean for the stock?
See, we are looking to get some more details, but overall things doesn't look to be bad at all. Jewelry profitability has gone up, I think something around, it should be between 15 to 20% kind of a number. Okay, watch profitability has improved significantly, which shows the benefits of all the restructuring and other things undertaken last year. So I think there is no reason to be negative in the stock.
That the jewelry revenue growth is going to slow down to single digits. Is that what you're penciling in as well for jewelry segment?
We were factoring in jewelry volume growth of around 10%. So jewelry sales growth of, say, jewelry sales growth is slightly disappointing, if you ask me. But margins there have improved, or they are at least in line.
In fact, let's take it across to Mubina. She's been tracking Titan pretty closely. Mubina, tell us what the segmental breakup of the revenues is like.
You know, that's what I was just looking at, but mind you, it may not be exactly comparable because of the excise duty component, but roughly, you know, I'd have to agree with Amnish as well. The jewelry revenue has come in at 3,357 crore. I'm sorry, 3,571 odd crore rupees, and pitch that against a 3,380 crore rupees. It's showing only a growth of 6%. Though, mind you, of course, we would have to remove the excise duty component. So, nevertheless, the growth has come in under double digits. It's something what the street as well was penciling in, that the jewelry revenue growth is going to halt in terms of that double-digit growth streak that it was posting since the last couple of quarters. So, unsurprising, but nevertheless, I think that's just a bit of a bummer, really, that's coming about in Titan numbers. Looking at what exactly the company has done when it comes to the EBIT number, well, that's coming at a level of about 393 crore rupees. Again, pitch that against what the company has done against the corresponding quarter, and this time around there's been a growth of 16%. So I think while they may have disappointed a bit on the revenue front, on the EBIT front they have done well across the board, mind you. So on the EBIT front they have posted a growth of 16% for jewelry. Again, we cannot calculate the margins and compare the margins against one another because of the excise duty component. Nevertheless, for the watches business as well, there's been a revenue growth of about approximately 80 crore rupees, so 592 crores in the current quarter and 516 in the corresponding quarter. And this time around there's been stupendous growth in the watches margins, so it's come in triple digits, 111 crore rupees. And mind you, I think this is pretty impressive because the watches business had been a point of contention among a lot of major investors. They have been wondering as to why Titan, a brand that commands so much of legacy, so much of premium, was not able to really match up and catch up to margins. But this time around, I think they've done decently well over there as well, because from a level of 48 crore rupees, they've jumped up to a good 111 crore rupees. Amnish, I'm just going to come to you on that. Yes, jewelry business revenue-wise may be a bit disappointing, but across the board, what jewelry and watches, the company seems to have done well on the margin front.
This is a question of mix. For example, in jewelry, if you are able to sell more of a studded or the high-value gold jewelry, your margins are likely to go up. Okay, and that seems to be the case in point, and that is where Titan has been focusing on improving the mix in the jewelry business. And in watches, they have undertaken a lot of restructuring, and watch business used to have a EBITDA margin of 18-20%. Maybe 5-7 years back, and it went through a very bad patch. They have undertaken a lot of restructuring, VRS and all, and I think the results of that are pretty much visible now.
Okay, Mayuresh, quick wrap from you then. Overall, what do the numbers look like? Yes, across the three parameters, they've either beat or come in line with expectations. But on the internals, especially on the jewelry revenue front, do you think that those double-digit revenue growth that jewelry used to post earlier may now just come to a halt for FY19, and it's going to be the other segments that would have to now take charge when it comes to contributing to growth?
Good afternoon, Mubina. No, I think ever since the profit warning was given out by Titan, I think the expectations in terms of jewelry top-line sales were actually on the softer and muted side. So I think in terms of what they have posted, in terms of jewelry sales, I think more or less in terms of expected lines. The EBIT margins, though, surprise. And you're right, I think, when you're looking at the watches segment, EBIT margins have been phenomenal this quarter round. In terms of what one can really expect for FY19 as a whole, I think the second half will have a lot of activities in terms of festivities and the wedding season coming back. So the studded component, which had hit around 36% by the end of FY18, which is a high margin business for Titan within the jewelry space that it operates out of, I think it'll be very interesting to see how that probably functions out. But again, I think the management commentary in terms of volumes actually picking up in the second half, leading to a strong double-digit top-line growth, is something that we're still pegging in. So I think when you're talking about a 23-24% earlier, that might get muted for the better part of this year. But the longer-term story probably still remains intact. And the watches have been doing well. The eye care or the eyewear segment has been disappointing, but the contribution to EBIT.
Amrish, you know what? Thanks so much for taking the time out and analyzing all the numbers. Amrish, thanks to you as well. And Mubina, thanks as always for running us through Titan's highlights.